That's the second type of thinking. So Imam Bukhari rahmatullahi alayhi, in that chapter, he mentions two ahadith in particular, but we're going to talk about one hadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and then we'll try to derive the lessons, the outcome from that. So in one hadith narrated by Uqba bin Harith radiyallahu anhu, he said, I performed Salatul Asr with the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And when he concluded his salah by saying Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah to the right and Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah to the left, he quickly got up, qama sari'an thumma kharaj. He quickly got up and he went to one of his houses, one of his wives, to their home. And then quickly he came back as well. When he came back, people were still sitting in the masjid. He came back to his spot, the front spot in the masjid, and he looked at the faces of people and he noticed the bewilderment in the faces of people, the wonder. They were wondering what caused the Prophet ﷺ to get up so quickly and leave the masjid and then return as well. Because once salah is finished, the most important task, the most important obligation is fulfilled. So he didn't have to come back to the masjid. There's no salah after Asr until the sunset, until Maghrib. So their first wonder was why the Prophet ﷺ left so quickly, because this was not his habit. After Asr, the Prophet ﷺ normally would turn around, face the Musallin, people praying behind him, and then he would sit in his spot for some time until he would complete his adhkar after the prayer. And then he would get up and leave. And then he would visit his families one by one. So their first question to themselves was, why did the Prophet ﷺ leave so early? And then the second question perhaps on their mind was, why did he come back on the same spot? So the Prophet ﷺ read the faces of the people. He didn't need to be asked. He read the faces of the people and he decided to address them. So without having them ask this question, he said, well, while I was in salah, I remembered that there is some gold in my house. So as soon as I finished my salah, I went back to the house. I did not want that gold to stay overnight in my house, so I made the arrangement for distribution of that gold. I wanted that gold to be given away in sadaqah, in charity, before the night falls. I did not want that gold to be in my house. So this is why I immediately left after Asr, and then I came back. I wanted to finish my adhkar in my spot, in the masjid, so I came back. So now, there are a few lessons that we learned. The scholars have said that those thoughts that come to your mind while you are in salah, that are related to your salah, most certainly, there is no objection to that, there is no criticism, there is no harm at all. Number two, those kind of thoughts that are not part of your salah, but they are still related to acts of obedience, acts of righteousness, like this example of the Prophet ﷺ, where he was thinking about something in his salah that needed to be given away in sadaqah. Now sadaqah is a good deed. Sadaqah is an act of charity which is commanded by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in Quran. So it is certainly an act of obedience. So the scholars have also said the first thought that came to the mind of the Prophet ﷺ, that there is some gold in my house that needs to be given away, that was without his effort. So that came automatically. So one thing to remember is, if something is coming to your mind, if thought comes to your mind without you thinking about it, there is certainly no harm, whether it is good or bad. But the best thing to stay away from it is to stay focused on what you are reading or what you are listening to in your salah or what you are saying in your salah. If you keep your mind focused on that, then shaitan will have less ability to distract you from your salah. Otherwise, shaitan's job is to cause distraction. Shaitan is hell-bent on distracting you from your salah. That is one of his main responsibilities that he has taken upon himself, to distract you from your salah. So the more you will stay focused in what you are saying, in what you are listening to, in what you are reading in your salah, the less chance shaitan will have to distract you. Now, when something comes to your mind and you start putting your energy or attention towards that, either to dispel it or to start planning on it, what should I do after that? Then there are two things. If that thought is unrelated to any act of obedience, is unrelated to your salah, then acting on it or engaging with it intentionally and deliberately, if it's not an act of obedience, then that will be your fault. So, for example, a thought came to your mind while you were in salah that you did not lock your car. Okay, this is not an act of obedience, locking your car, unlocking your car. So, a thought came to your mind while you were in salah, oh my God, I forgot to lock my car. So now you start thinking about, I hope nobody goes into my car. I hope nobody touches my car. I hope nobody steals my car. I hope I have cash in my glove compartment. I hope nobody takes my cash. Now that's your deliberate action, and you are responsible for that, and that is going to bring down your salah. That is going to reduce your, it's still not going to invalidate your salah because it's just a thought, but you're going to lose khushu in your salah, you're going to lose focus in your salah, and you are going to bring down your reward as well. But if it is something related to an act of obedience of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then it's okay to continue with that as well. As a matter of fact, there is one report that Imam Bukhari rahmatullahi alayhi has mentioned in Sahih al-Bukhari about Umar radiyallahu anhu. Umar radiyallahu anhu said, وَإِنِّي لَأُجَهِّزُ جَيْشِي فِي الصَّلَاةِ. I plan for my troops in salah, meaning and fighting in the path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is an act of obedience. So he said, while I'm in salah, I'm deciding, which group should go forward, which group should go where. I'm deciding all of that, planning in my salah. So that's something that Umar radiyallahu anhu would actively do. So there are two outcomes basically. If you are engaged in salah, your first and foremost priority should be to save yourself from any kind of distractions in thought. Of course, actions are a different category. We're only talking about thoughts. And even in thoughts, you should try to save yourself from any external thoughts. And if they are external thoughts, if they are related to an act of obedience, then that's okay. But if they are not, then you should try to disengage from that as soon as possible. As soon as you realize you're in salah, just stop thinking about it at all and move on with your salah. Wa akhiru da'wana alhamdulillahi rabbil alamin.